I figured I'd just make it easy and start from scratch, just so then you can see it. So I go to Finder, I'm going to start off in Dropbox, go to where it's at, Creativity, let's see, RCin60, and I'm just going to start right from the template, just because I can. This should hopefully work much more quickly. So this is starting from scratch. We're going to want to replace, and it happened to open up the lower third thing, so that's nice. I like it when that works. I'll show you how to do that again as well, since we missed it last night. All right, so right away, I'm going to start with the video. So this is a nested item. It just makes it so it saves everything. You'll actually see it here, but you can open it up by double-clicking it, and then it'll go right to it. What we'll want to do then is import the current week's thing. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to save as a new project. So File, Save As, and then I'm going to go into 2019. I'm going to go January 27th. I know we made one in here already. I'm going to just save it as this and then put a 2 behind it, just so then we can separate that. I've already done that one. Okay, hit save. And there we've saved as. First thing, getting the audio as well as the graphics and video for this. So 2019, open up your Finder window, go and find that under January 27, raw. We've got this clip here. If you want, you can actually change it here as well. I know I showed you that you can change it in Premiere, but you can change it here if you wanted to keep it nice and organized, or you can change it in the, Premiere, and you can do that by dragging it in, dropping it into this space, and then you can actually go to the file that you want to rename, hit enter or return on your keyboard, and then you can type in there, Angel. All right, so I've got those imported into the library. Next, what I'm going to do the easy piece first. I'm going to replace the logo that we've currently have. I'm just going to hold down Option on my keyboard and then drag, say, Families for Children, the graphic right onto there, and it'll automatically replace it. We'll adjust it later, but I'm going to start with the video now. I'm going to take the Angel video, drop it into the timeline, as well as the Angel audio, and drop that into the timeline. Then you match up the audio. Typically we've got a clap somewhere. So that's the clap for the video right there. I believe the clap right here for the audio is there, which I'll just move the video over. You can move it over. If you want to see more, hold on, I'm going to make this dock kind of disappear because it's kind of a pain in the butt. How do I get it to disappear? There it is. Okay. So it lines up there. To zoom in, you can go like this and just squeeze this bar down. Or I believe you can hold down Option and then scroll up or down to zoom in and zoom out. So once you get there, one of the things that you might want to do is expand these. If you move your mouse over to the particular section that you want to make larger, hold down Option and scroll. It'll expand those as well. You can move this up if it's hard to see all these. And then I'm going to move this back just a titch. If I need to get a little closer. And line it up right perfect. There you go. And then you can start. And if you want to double check it, you can hit S for solo. Perfect, that's the way I want it. And we'll up the volume here. I've got this expanded quite a bit here. if it's right. All right, then we can unlink this piece. You right-click, unlink, and then it'll separate the camera audio from the camera video. Select the audio, delete it. Select both the video and the audio that's remained, and then link it. So then anytime that you move it, it's going, like even if you just move the video, it will snap and move this. Then what you want to do is cut down where the start is and where the stop is. We will go right about here. I'm actually going to goose the audio so I can hear it a little bit better. 4 or 6 is what 4 was about where Steph was here. You can see that by just hovering or clicking right there. Click on the audio and then of that track, and then you can see level is set to 4. If you need a guide, you can adjust the overall like this. Just clicking and dragging, easy. All right, I'm going to go to the start of where it's good. Once I get my hand out of the way, I'm going to cut it right there, and you can switch your tools by either clicking here. This is selection tool. There's a blade tool or razor tool. Otherwise, you can press C on your keyboard, and we'll switch it to the blade tool. Press V on your keyboard to switch it to the selection tool. And so I'm going to switch to blade tool. I'm going to click. I'm going to get rid of this piece. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, go towards the end, and then hit the blade tool again, cut, hit the selection tool, V, select it, delete. And that's how you make it short. Then what I like to do is I like to first make this smaller again. For the moment, I'm going to extend this. I like to shift all these up one just so then I can get it, so I can see where it lands in comparison to the original video. Where I like to start is seeing where Steph's audio ends, so then I get this about the same timing for the ending with Angel's. So what I'm going to do is drag Angel over so it's right nearby. I'm going to drag it up so the video goes up into this open spot now. And you can drag this audio up as well. Otherwise, if it stays in the same spot, it'll make it so then it overwrites what was there, which you want to use that as a reference. So right now I see the audio is over here for Steph, so I'm going to move it over a bit and have it where it kind of trails off there. Move over that way. And you can move, by the way, you can move side to side, either using the bar here, or if you have like an Apple Magic Mouse, probably a trackpad. I think the trackpad, you got to take 2 fingers and swipe left or right. But if you're on a mouse, you just swipe left or right with 1 finger. All right, then I see where Steph's is right here. I look at Angel's, and I just take Angel's and move it so it ends at the same spot. Then I do the same at the beginning, so then I know that all these graphics will line up and end right where Angel's will end. I'll slide this back over to the front, check the front end of it. Let's zoom in here. I'm going to cut this back a bit, and I'm going to move forward a little, and then line up right about where they start, or where Angel starts. And then I extend it. I just hover over here, and it'll change to that red bar again, and extend it there. At this point, you can get rid of everything that Steph is, all her videos. And so you can click on hers. If you're not sure if you can see it, you can just click on Angel's and hide it for a moment. You can select Steph's. Delete. That'll delete that. You can toggle the eyeball back on to bring it on. FYI, I mentioned this. If you leave that off and you export it, it will export it like this. So it'll leave the video off. Then, one of the things that you'll notice, one of the things I actually forgot to mention, so I'm going to undo a few times, is you'll notice that Angel is more over this way. Easy way to fix that. Look at Steph's first, and I'm going to make it so you can see her. Steph is more centered here. Position is 700 up in the effects, controls, and then there's video width, and then it'll be the file name. You just select Angels, and you'll see that it's 960. So you can click and hit 700, and that'll change it. I'm going to put her back on screen. Looks like she's a little bit more to the left, so if you want to move her to the right, you just hover over the number, click, and then you can drag right or left as you're holding until she's in a good spot, and then release. Just like that, you can move that around. Then you can get rid of Steph's video. Once you've done that, you're also welcome to go ahead and delete the rest of the audio and video from there that Steph did. So I'm going to delete her audio over in this library. I'm going to delete that. I believe this was from another recording, so I'm going to delete that. And then I'm also going to delete this one. And if you wanted to ever double check and make sure you're selecting the right one, just double click the icon itself, and it'll pop up what the video is, and then you can delete that. Poetis, we've already got the logo for Safe Families in place, so we're good to go. Simple logo, that's if you go back to the main project, that's going to be showing the logo at the end. You can go through lower third, that's going to be the lower third on the main project. This piece, you can actually change that, and I would suggest changing it, renaming it, I should say. You press enter, and then I enter the RCin60, add a hyphen in between, and then Safe Families for Children. Essentially, when you do that, it makes it so when you export it, it's already got the name right in there. So then you don't have to replace it. RCin60.mov is the starter file for the main project. Video with CG, this is that nested file that we entered into, that we double-clicked to get all these different graphics and whatnot. After this, Longer Days, that's also the main music file, and Angels, obviously, the audio there. Sorry I didn't explain that earlier, but if you don't care, you can skip it and ignore me. All right, once you've done that, I like to make it so there's no more extra spaces here, like empty tracks. Right-click in like this area. Actually, in this area, sorry. Delete tracks. Delete video tracks, delete audio tracks, and then we'll take out all the empty tracks, and then we'll leave what's left. I bring this down so that I can see more of the video stuff now. I'm going to expand this a bit. Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these and move them over so it lines up with the back end of here, and I'll take these ones and bump them here. So each of these will be a layer of text or a graphic. So the first thing we're going to do is add some things. Safe Families for Children, we're going to bring this logo down. So you select the layer, and then if up here, if it looks like this, hit Effect Controls, and then you'll see Position under this video width, and then it'll say CG or whatever the actual sequence name is, and then it'll say the particular file name. Go to Position, and you can, it's XY. Oh, that reminds me, I should save. Okay, it's XY. Go to your Y, bring it down. Bada bing, bada boom. You can do some size adjustments if you'd want, but I am okay with it right where it was. All right, then let's go in here. I showed you in the scripts. I'll start highlighting like some main points, so it makes it easy for you.
Safe families for children.
And we said keeping families together would be a good to be a starter. So then I just scrub through by clicking and dragging here if you want. Make sure you click the layer. You can double click and then keeping families together is what I'm going to put in here. So keeping, oops, there we go. Keeping families together. Boom. I'm going to click it. I'm going to essentially click down here, so then I deselect it. And then I'm going to select the layer here, and then I can move it down into a more appropriate spot. And then we're going to go
keeping children safe during family crisis situations, supporting and stabilizing families in crisis, and reuniting families, reducing the number of children entering the child welfare system. We will be hosting an
I'm going to select the next one. I'm going to put in info meeting. Info meeting. I can't remember the date.
informational meeting, February 10th.
February 10th. And you can get this in the scripts as well. Whoops. And see, if I try and every time I do that, I try and play it, but I'm still in there. And 1:30. Now I get to this part. Oh wait, this is the icon. So I need to swap these around because I like it so it looks nice and pretty in order. And I'm going to bring that down.
1:30.
I suppose I can move this info meeting one here down so we can see a little bit better. And we can go to this one. It's going to be 1:30. Whoops, no, wrong one, sorry. Make sure you select the right one as well. I'm going to do 1:30 p.m. I know, no space. Forgive us. Central offices.
At 1:30 at our central offices.
And I'm going to put that about there for a moment.
30 at our central offices.
And then I'm going to move this up. It's closer to those. Probably move this down just a titch. And then we'll...
For more information on how you can become involved or to RSVP to the event,
we'll move the RC logo. And again, like if we need to do it earlier, that's okay. Like how she doesn't say the RC logo until now. We don't want it for like 2 seconds or 1 second or half a second and it'd be gone.
RC icon in the Ransom Church app. See you there.
And that's it. That's all you do for this part. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go back into the main thing. Actually, one more thing I forgot. My fault. Need to do the audio as well. So you'll go and zoom in, go to the front end, zoom in towards closer to the audio for Angel's voice. Right at the start, click the audio. And then up in here under the effect controls, you can see audio effects. And you'll see level 4.1, that's what we set it to. Go ahead and add a key frame there. Then I back it up a little bit. Add another keyframe. So this is just a few frames that I went, probably 5 or 6 or so. And then I go to the end. Remember to do it this way rather than adjust the audio for it. Otherwise, it's going to be a linear type of fade instead of just a nice rounded fade, a Bezier. So we'll go with right about there to start it out. And then right there, we'll end it. All right, once you've marked those, and I'll zoom this open so then you can actually see the keyframes here. You'll see the keyframes there. You want to select them all by clicking and dragging, hit Shift, hold down Shift, and then click and drag to add more. Right click, continuous Bezier. I'm good with French. All right, then you can zoom in or zoom out, whatever you want to do. On this tab here, there's a drop down piece here. Click that, and then you can just bring it down to negative infinity, and it makes the nice curve. Then you go to the front end, and you can get there by going to the previous frame. Just click there, click, and then click. So then we're at the start, bring it down. Bada bing, bada boom, we got it done. Now, I know I'm taking a little bit longer on this tutorial, but hey, it's thorough. Now you can click back to the main project. You can do that by up here, if it's in here, clicking the RCin60, Save Families, what you may have renamed it. It may be, if you didn't rename it, it may be like from the previous project, that name. And so you can just click that, move it back. If you don't see this here, and you only have that, and you're like, oh, where'd it go? You can go back to your library, double click the sequence here for the RCin60, whatever the project is. All right, so there's a couple things that we need to do differently. Obviously, Angel's title is different than Steph's, and her name is different too, believe it or not. If it's already in there, you can just click this piece here, and that is the lower third. You can zoom in and actually see the title there. You click it, and then in Effect Controls, there's another tab, and it says Master. If you click Master, it's going to give you the name and the designation. This makes life 10 million times easier than working with After Effects. So I go to Name, Angel Metzger. And it changes automatically. What's nice about it is if I go over a little bit and go into the second one, it also changes that one. So that will also be affected by it. Makes life so amazingly easy. All right, then I'm going to go back up here, click back into the master. I also need to change her designation. She is the Compassion Ministry Director. That will be her title. I'm going to click off there. And one of the things that you'll notice is it may not fit in here. If that happens, the initials for director is DIR, and I'll put a period. And that fits much better. And it applies to the entire thing, making your life 10 million times easier than having to open After Effects and make a separate thing. All right. If, for some reason, this gives you the yellow box of wonder, is what I'll call it, and it's not loading, or you'll see down here, this is the file for it. There might be a red line through it. If that were to happen, first I would say this is the failed one, just so you can designate once you've imported the different After Effects file, the difference between that one and this one. And so what you would do, if it didn't work, is go to File. You're going to go to Adobe Dynamic Link, and it's going to pop up this little option, New After Effects Composition, Import After Effects. We're wanting Import After Effects Composition. Then what you're going to do is find the folder with Dropbox, and I believe it's under, oh boy, some tech maybe? There we go. Yep, so you may have to, well, yep, there it is. Dropbox, Ransom Office, Creativity, and then RCin60, standard files. Takes a bit to get there. L3 with subtitle. If you click that, it's going to load these, and these are the different compositions that's within the After Effects file. What you will want is to do the lower third comp. Click that, hit OK, and then all you have to do, and you'll see how it changes to fill tag's name, because the generic is set up as fill tag. Hold down Option, click and drag onto, I think, this one. I think you can just do the first one and it'll... Nope. So you got to click and drag, hold down Option, click and drag onto each of those sections. So I'm going to do it to the second piece as well, because if you don't do it to the second piece, you'll retain what was there. Then it will automatically set it so you don't have to do any cutting. It automatically places exactly how to reverse it as well. So that makes life easy. From there, you can click, go to Master. Again, you can do it this way. Angel Metzger, Compassion Ministry Director. And then it will take, as long as you also dropped it into this one, it'll take that as well. And that is how you do the lower third. So we got through the lower third finally. Okay, now the ending piece. I'm going to show you what I like to do with the ending, just to keep it nice and easy to do. So if you want it to be right where like it lined up with Steph's, like it was just perfect, like where the logo essentially comes in and pops the bubble and does that, you can make it line up fairly easy too. What I would do is take your blade tool. It's going to sound weird, but cut your simple logo graphic. So cut that graphic and then switch to selection tool, take it, delete. So what it's going to do is it'll do this thing and then it'll stop. But what's nice is it actually makes you line up where that will begin without taking this dip to black out of the sequence. So then what I like to do is move this over to the start of this. This is meaning that there's no audio or video here, but everything here, there's audio and video in that nested thing that we've done, because it happens to be shorter than Steph's video. So what we do then, we just drag it over until we get it back to right here. And you're going to pull it back until all those stripes are gone. Then you can move this right back there so it lines up with the end. And you just go and take it and extend it to the end. And then it'll go like this.
See you there.
And voila, that's it, except for the audio. The only thing that we need to do then is make it so the audio lines up with the end, for the music, ends up with the end of the video. So where this ended was right when Steph finished. You zoom in on this, the music actually went up a little bit, stayed up for a little bit, and then it fades down. An easy way to do this and move it where you don't have to do a whole bunch of editing, go ahead and click the music track audio. And I'm actually going to move this up so we can also see this track and potentially see where she ends. Well, I guess we're not going to see where she ends. Just kidding. All right, because I forget when you have nested things, often it won't show the video or the audio feed, or what do you call it, bars. So I'm going to click here. Then you can go into your effect controls. If it's not down, go to your audio effects level, and it'll show you all the keyframes. What I do is I just select all the end keyframes, and I take this and just see where she ends.
See you there.
Right about there. and then I drag it, all these, so the first one lines up with where I want it. So then, what will happen is if I back up and I play it,
The Ransom Church app. See you there.
then it'll fade out right into perfect time with the video going up. You can also, if you wanted to, you can zoom in, and if you want it to end like right where the video does, you could adjust it that way with the last frame. It's not necessary, but close is good. And so even if it's right there, I'll just take my blade tool, cut this off, delete it, so then the video will end at 58 seconds and 20 frames. This is the fastest RCin60 so far. And so I'm going to play
Hey,
through,
Ransom, Angel here.
just make sure it's
Safe
going
Families
well.
for Children surrounds families in crisis with
All right, overall it was pretty good. One thing that I think I'm going to do is up her voice a little bit. So to do that, you could, if you wanted to, just adjust it in this nested part, but I kind of like to keep it where it's on that main file. So if you go back into the video and then go right here, obviously you've got your keyframes that have been set. However, if you click and drag this, you can raise it and it
families in
won't
crisis
affect
and
the
reuniting
very
families.
end keyframes. One of the things that I want to make sure that you know is if you want to change it after you've set keyframes for the overall volume, if I were just to select it and this were right in here, and I wanted to do it by adjusting this, just know that it actually will not like adjust this overall thing. It will adjust only the point here, and it'll create a new keyframe. So you don't want to necessarily do that. If you want to adjust it based in this piece here, you can go to the second keyframe of the sequence. Then remember, the first one's at infinity 0. The second one is 4 decibels. You can raise it up by either doing this or upping this, and then you go to your next one and then do the same, but it means that you have to get both of them. So I personally, I'm a fan of just going here and clicking and dragging up, which will change the entire thing instead of having to go into this piece. So I'm going to up that. Let's go up all the way, just see what happens. Then I can click back into the main project.
Stabilizing families in crisis and reuniting families, reducing the number of children entering the child welfare system.
I think I'm good with that.
And surrounds families in crisis with
If for some reason you need to add more volume, like I still need more, like this person was quiet, which is never going to be Angel. But if you need to, you can, over here in your project, like library area, you can click effects. You can do a search and then type in volume. And then you can add a volume thing here onto, you can either do it if you've got your audio up in this area already selected. If you don't have it selected, you can drop it right on here. So just listen for the difference. So
caring, compassionate.
there's no difference there.
In many situations,
But if I were to increase it,
parents or guardians may be incapable of providing a safe and caring
or
environment
decrease
for
it,
children,
it pulls it
putting
down
them
or
at risk of
enhances
abuse
it
and
more.
neglect.
But I think it's fine. Typically, most of the time, it's pretty good. So as long as we put the mic in a good spot, we're good. And that is it for this project. So what I'm going to do then, go back to your main project, click so you're just deselected, but make sure it's in here. So then this, you can see it's highlighted in here, the blue. So it's got this pane, you might say, selected. Go to File, Export, Media. There's a couple ways you can do this. First way is the time-consuming way where your computer just bogs down because it leaves Premiere open, which I'm not a huge fan of. Formats, H.264. I guess custom for this. You can click the output name. It should all be saved in here, like as far as the settings themselves, but I'll walk you through it just in case. Output name, you'll want to check this because this is where your file is going to be saved. Obviously, we don't want it in that folder, so we're going to go Dropbox, Ransom, Creativity, RCin60, 2019, January 27. Right in here, you'll see the one that I already did. I'm going to put a 2 behind it just so that it's clear that this is the, you know what? I'm going to save over it. Boom. Save. Replace. We'll see if it saves over. Sometimes it has issues and refuses. But anyways, you can scroll down in this section, just making sure that things are fine. One of the things that I like to make sure is the bit rate. VBR 2 pass, 15 and 25. Sometimes it'll be 1 pass and then it's set to like 10 or 15. That makes it so the quality is just not that great. And so if we up the target bit rate to 15 and the maximum bit rate to 25 with the 2 pass, it seems to make a much better video. Scroll on, there's nothing really left there. Make sure use maximum render quality is checked. And then the first way, like I said, you can hit export. That will start exporting right away in Premiere. The other way, you can hit Q, and it will open up a program as long as you've got it downloaded. I believe it's called Media, what is it? Yeah, Adobe Media Encoder. So it essentially makes it so you can do a bunch of videos. For instance, like if you wanted to do several different projects, like several different RCin60s, you could do them all, get them all ready, and then put them in the queue. Once you're done, you can hit play, and it'll just sequentially start importing it. So right here is where it will drop it into. And just know that if you make any changes in this, if you're going to do another RCin60, be sure to do save as before you start so that it saves as another project. Otherwise, if you just change it in the same project and then add to the queue again, it's just going to re-export what you had twice, or what your most recent updated thing is. So that just to give you warning. But once you're done with that, you can actually, I'm going to hit save one more time and then hit quit. Quit out of it. And then when you're done, you can just hit play. And it'll just start encoding. And honestly, it can go pretty quick lately. Yeah, I'll come back when it's done. And just like that, it's done 10 million times faster than the computer at Central. I don't know what's going on with that, but we definitely need to get that looked at. And obviously, this is much faster since I just speeded it up too. But overall, it took about like 2 minutes in comparison to the much longer time it took. Yeah. So what you can do if you wanted to, you can actually click on this when it's done, and it'll actually open up where it's at. I hit space, and I like to just check it.
Hey Ransom, Angel here.
Awesome. That's it. Let me know if you need anything else or if you've got any questions.